Hello everyone and welcome to our last day of the Spring Regional Special. Now today is Friday, a lot of you are already at the regional sites or you are on your way. I left this deck for last because it's probably the most rogue deck and therefore the one you should expect to see the least of out of all 10 decks I featured. But nonetheless, it should be a pretty fun deck to use. And it did make top 8 at the last winter regionals, so who knows, maybe it will surprise a couple of you out there. So let's review the deck list really quickly. The main attacker is of course Mega Mewtwo EX. Psychic Infinity is an incredible attack. You have Mega Turbo to power yourself up, and DCEs, which are like plus 60 plus power, so definitely a really nice card, and you have the potential to one-hit KO absolutely everything. And it also makes your opponent think twice about attaching energy to his own Pokemon, because you do deal damage based on your energy and the opponent's energy. Now we are using the next Destiny's Mewtwo EX, which is definitely a very vastly superior version than the ones released along with Mega Mewtwo EX. You do have access to this card in Expanded, so definitely use it. X-Ball is still a really nice attack and actually puts less pressure onto your Mega Mewtwo Y. And yeah, Mewtwo Landorus was actually a pretty popular deck back in the day, so heck, why not keep the trend and even abuse the Mega Evolution that Mewtwo got. Now we have a single Hoopa to allow us to help us set up. We have one Regirock. Now this is part of the original deck list. I personally don't really like the inclusion of Regirock. I feel like you'll never have a chance to power it up, and even when you do 110 HP, 4 energy cost seems like a bit too much. I generally don't know why it's here. Maybe for the float stone, I don't know, but I'm gonna leave it there. Maybe whilst we're playing we will find out why the original creator of the deck used it. And we have two Landorus EX. Now Hammerhead is a pretty amazing attack. Lance Judgment is not too bad either, but our main focus will probably be to Hammerhead. Allows you to have a decent-ish Night March matchup, especially with Fighting Fury Belt. They will have a really hard time one-hit KOing your Pokemon. So yeah, we should definitely be able to use Landorus EX effectively. And we have one Keldeo EX to help us retreat. Every Pokemon in the deck has a very hefty retreat, and we have two Shaymin EX to help us draw more cards. Now, as far as supporters go, we have 4 Professor Juniper, best supporter in the game available, and I am using the full art Juniper instead of the regular art Sycamore because I can. For the standard videos in the future, I will be using full art Sycamore once it's out. Now we have 2N, once again pretty standard for the expanded metagame. One Lysander, so that we can target whatever we want. One Hex Maniac to potentially prevent item lock from ruining us, prevent Crobat drops, prevent the free retreat ability from Darkrai, from Keldeo, things like that. We have one Ghetsis, once again very standard in expanded. One Colress, one of the best draw cards in the game when you're in the middle to late phases of the game. And one AC, because even though you do have Keldeo, you might be able to prevent your opponent from drawing prizes, and your attackers are very cost effective, I would say. So yeah, definitely very nice card to have in order to prevent prizes. Now, and Xerosic in order to remove tools, remove Headringers, remove Spiritlings, and remove special energy. Now we have 4 Verseeker, of course, to reuse all of these cards. 4 Ultra Ball to find all of our Pokemon. 2 Mega Turbo. I would maybe consider running a third one, potentially over the Regirock, but these are very useful late in the game. 1 Tool Scrapper, once again this also allows you to remove your own, or rather Headringers that your Pokemon have attached, and potentially remove Floatstone, remove Muscle Bands, remove Fighting Fury Belts. 1 Super Rod to recover energy most likely, or potentially Pokemon that you discarded early on. 1 Computer Search, the best ace spec available to this deck to increase consistency. Two Fighting Fury Belt. Like I said, a Fighting Fury belted Landorus is a really buffy attacker. Three Floatstone, sorry, to combine with Keldeo, but just in case it gets targeted or you don't have the bench space or anything, having 3 of them is really nice to be able to retreat anything else that's currently in the active slot. And 3 Mewtwo Spirit Links in order to Mega Evolve without losing the turn. We have 2 Parallel City Stadiums. This can also help you heal your Pokemon or prevent your opponent from drawing prizes, such as just like AC, but it can also reduce the damage output from Vespiquen decks, from Seismitoad. Vespiquen and Flareon every attacker in that deck gets reduced by 20 their attacks, so definitely could prove more useful beyond just limiting your opponent's bench or your own. And there's no drawback to placing it the way it's currently shown, so definitely one of the best stadiums for this deck. And for our energy, we have 4 basic fighting energy, 4 double colorless energy, and 2 strong energy. That's because we cannot attach the strong energy to Mewtwo's. It would be amazing, but we can't. So that's the deck list. Let's move on to the games. I'm really excited to be featuring this deck because of the novelty factor. It's been a while since I played Mega Mewtwo Y. It's been a really long time since last I played Landorus, since Worlds of last year. So yeah, let's see what we can do. And looks like we might be up against a Blastoise deck. So I don't know how good or bad the matchup is. I mean, Mewtwo can definitely... Regular Mewtwo and Mega Mewtwo EX can easily revenge kill like a really buffed up Keldeo. If my opponent plays Regice, we could be in some trouble, but we actually see a Trick Coin, we see Doublade, and we see Octillery, so never mind. This is definitely not Blastoise. It's actually an Aegislash deck. And well, we don't have the best hand to start off with. I'm going to have to get rid of a lot of resources unless I top deck a Mewtwo or an Ultra Ball. My opponent doesn't do too much either. Wow, I actually top deck a Mewtwo. That's pretty nice. So I'm gonna attach the DC right away. I am going to attach the Spirit Link. Gonna play the Stadium and limit his bench. Yeah, that's the right way. Just because I generally don't know what to expect from my opponent. And getting rid of 2 energy is not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world. Now, 2 Fighting Fury belts, not ideal either. I cannot evolve just yet, but I can pass my turn. Next, I can attach the DCE, potentially retreat, or well, there's a easy victory. Okay, so that doesn't count, guys. That was not the most serious deck. Hopefully my rating pulls through here and I don't have to reset the video. Hopefully it pulls through for us. And yeah, it looks like I'm climbing the ladder a lot more than the regular standard weeks because I am playing a lot more games for each video. Well, not a lot more, but almost. I reckon between losses and wins, I've probably played between both weeks. I mean, on a regular week, I play anywhere between 10 and 15 games. So if you count quick wins, quick losses, and things like that, I've probably played around 20 to 25 games, I would say. I mean, I don't know the exact count. Probably around 20. Between 18 and 22, I'm gonna say. But yeah, between both weeks, probably 40 games. So that's a lot of extra points. Now, I do get a Mewtwo start. I didn't pay attention to what my opponent was, what type of Pokemon my opponent was using. So I might be in for a surprise here. I am going first, and it's actually Night March. So, our current start is definitely not ideal. We don't want to focus on Mewtwo. but we really don't have too much of a choice at the moment. I'm going to attach the energy to Mewtwo just in case he misplays and plays a Stadium and a DCE or something, or if he plays, I don't know. Just gonna play the energy. I really don't think I will be getting Landorus out this turn or anything too useful. I'm gonna play down the Mewtwo because I'm definitely going to need Shaymin to set up. So easy prices available between Shaymin and Mewtwo. It's really not that much of a difference. If he somehow whiffs on the KO, I guess I will leave the Mewtwo with the Spirit Link attached. There's no harm in that. And I'm actually going to end here because I don't want to drop another Shaymin at this point. I don't want to make it too easy for my opponent. But seeing what I got, maybe it would have been the better choice. I can't do anything further here. I do have Berserker to use the N. I also have an energy to KO that Joltik. But the thing is, I don't want to trade my Mewtwo EX for a Joltik. Especially because, yeah, Landorus is the card here. Fighting Fury belted. I don't think Night March would be able to easily deal with two Fighting Fury belted Landoruses. But Landori, is that the plural for Landorus? Landori? Everyone touches an energy, but yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He runs Octillery and not Shaymin, so maybe my opponent is not using the most competitive Night March version. Now, I do top deck the Hoopa, so I have two choices here. I can go for Landorus. I'm gonna go for both Landorus, but I can take the KO with Landorus or I can take the KO with Mewtwo. And I think going the Landorus route is definitely the better choice. So I'm going to grab those, those three. Definitely those three. I'm actually going to AC the Mewtwo because I cannot retreat just yet. I have to play the Landorus first though, so I'm gonna AC. Mewtwo, I guess, soaked up that first hit, no big deal. I will promote this Landorus, I will bench this other Landorus, I will bench the Keldeo as well, and I'm gonna attach the Strong Energy and place the 3 damage counters onto Pumpkaboo, because that means no matter where it is, bench or active slot, I will be able to KO it. Now, I obviously over KO the Joltik, but that's perfectly fine. The Strong Energy cancels out the Pumpkaboo weakness. And yeah, we are actually not in a bad position, but mostly because my opponent doesn't have the super explosive Night March Shaymin list more than anything. Octillery is definitely the vastly inferior version. There's Octillery. He even has Super Rod in a Night March deck. Yeah. Oh, and he has teammates. Okay. So this might be a bit more interesting. Yep, he goes for a Stadium and the DC, which makes sense. So he can potentially KO us here. He still needs 6 more Night Marchers in the discard pile. And he's already used up his supporter slot. He actually gets rid of my Strong Energy through Enhanced Hammer, so that poses another issue, because now I cannot KO the Pumpkaboo. Now I cannot KO the Pumpkaboo, especially now that it has a Fighting Fury belt. So he goes for a Night March, deals only 70 damage, nothing to write home about. I will attach the energy here. I don't want to end my opponent, so I guess I just have to be patient here. And I can start targeting his bench. But yeah, we're not in the greatest of positions right now. Gonna Hammerhead. If he somehow fails to KO Landorus, I'm gonna leave that Remoraid with damage, put more pressure, and try to trade more cost effectively with my Landorus. Goes immediately for the Abyssal Hand. Now he dealt 70 damage, gets a second Octillery. So now he needs to deal 110 damage. He only needs 2 more Night Marchers in the discard pile, which he still doesn't have. And wow, he hasn't even... Yeah, I didn't take a KO, so he couldn't reuse teammates. Is that last card going to be something useful? Or does he still have access to another Abyssal Hand? Yeah, he does, okay. And he hasn't played a supporter yet. So even though that version is inferior, because of the Enhanced Hammer, we are now a bit behind. We are definitely a bit behind at the moment. What I want to see right now is if he KOs me, then I will end my opponent. But that Fighting Fury belt is really annoying. I'm gonna have a really hard time KOing that Pumpkaboo, and it's only my second prize. So I need... Okay, he plays an escape rope. So I guess my sacrificial lamb is either Hoopa, no, Keldeo, right? Yeah, it's always Keldeo. So I can retreat it. Well, I could retreat anything, but Hoopa is weak, Mewtwo is weak to the Pumpkaboo, and Shaman is in danger, I guess, because it has so low HP. He only deals 70 damage, so 60 actually, so Shaman would have been the right choice. Shaman would have definitely been the right choice. Now, I top deck the Xerosic. So, what I'm actually going to do is attach the DCE, retreat, promote Landorus, and I'm going to play the Xerosic now, get rid of the Fighting Fury belt, and KO the benched Pumpkaboo. I only deal 10 damage to the Pumpkaboo, but now with the Stadium, I even have the potential to use Mewtwo as a revenge killer. And there's 3 DCs in his discard pile, and he's already used up 2 Puzzle of Time, I believe. Yeah. So at most he can use them once, and he needs them both in his hand. So the odds of that aren't too high. I mean, they're there, but they're not the highest odds. What I'm really lacking though is energy. That's what I really need at this moment. I really need energy to keep the Landorus. I mean, the Fighting Fury belt would be amazing, but my opponent is also really struggling with its damage output. It's gonna deal 90 here, and yeah, there's the concession. So definitely not a very competitive Night March deck we faced, but it's really not up to me. And the wins, I guess, keep putting our rating even higher. So I mean, there's also the chance that no one too good is online right now playing. There's also that chance. But yeah, I don't think I've been able to really showcase the deck. Now we're up against a pure dark deck. Hopefully it's a pure Yveltal Darkrai dark deck and it's really competitive. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So let's find another game. That's what, our 3rd win, and we are under 20 minutes into the video. Mega Mewtwo Landorus. Apparently it's too powerful for my opponents to deal with. Flavius Lysander with what looks to be a Night March deck as well. I win the coin flip and I start Mewtwo and pretty much nothing else. The turn 1 Ghetsis could be nice, could definitely be nice, but if this is Night March, I don't think that will stop it. And he actually benches 2 more Pokemon, so I really doubt it's Night March. Yep, there's a Dunsparce in front of me. It's a free retreat Dunsparce. There's a Mew, And there's an Eevee, so I have absolutely no clue what type of deck my opponent could be using at the moment. I'm gonna attach the basic energy, less likely to get discarded than a DCE by Enhanced Hammer or something like that. It's actually a Flareon deck, and I get rid of the roller skates, but we see he has Jirachi in his deck. But my top deck is actually Shaman, so that's okay. I mean, I only get to draw 2 cards off of it, but I have AC to use it. I get the Spirit Link, which is absolutely huge, and because he might go for N as the supporter of his choice, with Jirachi, I was considering keeping it in my hand because of the fact that he could Megaphone or something like that, but I think the odds of that are low. Now he finds an Ultra Ball. We know he has Execute in his hand, so oops. No, he has Execute, so what? Why doesn't he play the Jirachi or the Ultra Ball? What? That makes absolutely no sense, man. Yesterday's video featured some really competitive games, and today's video is just really lacking. I play the X-Maniac. I know he has the Jirachi, I know he has the Execute, and I know he has the Eevee, which he can potentially evolve through Energy Evolution, but because of X-Maniac he cannot at the moment. He has a Flare in his hand, that's perfectly fine by me. I'm still dealing 100 damage. Plays the roller skates, plays down the Jirachi, so why? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a concession right now. Nope, he just passes the turn. Okay, oops, he says. Why didn't you play it last turn? Why didn't you play it last turn? That makes no sense. So, the Fighting Fury belt, is it worth it to attach to my Mewtwo? I guess it is. I'm going to just gonna Juniper. Didn't want to discard the Eevee. What Eevee? That makes no sense. What Eevee, man? Okay, I'm currently dealing 100 damage. So with the Ultra Ball, I mean, is going for Landorus worth it? Yeah, I'm gonna discard an N and the Lysander. Going to find myself a Landorus. Not going for Hoopa, there's no need to fill out my bench with less useful Pokemon or find Mega Mewtwo or anything because I don't have access to the Spirit Link there. So I'm just gonna play the Fighting Energy there. And honestly, after my opponent's misplay, I don't know, I mean, he said to not discard Eevee, but that makes no sense. Why would you discard Eevee? Oh, not the Eevee, the Flareon. But you're running Flareon, which I'm not gonna say anymore. Okay, gets an Unknown, perfectly fine by me. Gets a Shaman off of the Unknown or his top deck. That's really sick. It's a really sick top deck if that's what he got. And okay, there's a small issue here. If he gets a DCE, well, he could potentially copy X-Ball and deal 200 damage for us if he gets a DCE to attack with, but that's still not enough to KO us, and we could KO him back. What else could he copy? Our own attack doesn't apply weakness, so we shouldn't be worried about that. And yeah, my opponent just passes. So I mean, I could Lysander up the Eevee, but I generally think we are going to easily win here. So I'm just gonna attach another energy, make sure I can KO the whatever Jirachi or Shaman comes up. 130 damage, more than enough. I get 2 prizes, and I can simply computer search for my last two prizes. So man, today's video is not really working out as I intended. Yesterday's video we faced up some really good opponents and we got some really good games, but in today's video they've been quite lacking, to be honest. I mean, it's 4 games now and all 4 games have been pretty silly. Rather not silly, but easy. Just gonna deal maximum damage just because I can. And yep, there's a Lysander. And I mean, the argument not to bench Jirachi, not so that he wouldn't discard the Flareon, makes no sense, because he could have grabbed and then a Colress, which I'm hoping he played, or grabbed the Juniper and not used it. Who knows? But we did win, and let's find another match while we slowly climb the ladder. I guess this is a good deck to climb the ladder with. Now, okay, we're facing off against an opponent that has an advantage on us, so this should definitely be a good game, I think. Up against a dark deck as well, with potentially Jirachi Promo or Jirachi X, Shaman, and our Hoopa start is by far the last Pokemon you want to start with. Anything else and this Ultra Ball could have made for a great start, but the way it's currently at, I'm gonna have to Ultra Ball for a Shaman, and yeah, he gets the Hoopa. Ultra Ball for Shaman and work from there. And looks like my discards for the Shaman are gonna be the Versus Seeker and potentially the Stadium. The Versus Seeker and potentially the Stadium. So, okay, so it's a Darkrai deck. These decks seem to be really popular, and yeah, I mean, Landorus could be pretty important. Fighting Fury belted Landorus could actually be our savior, but the fact that he wants to get so many energy into play should help out Mewtwo EX into scoring some one-hit KOs somewhere. Not entirely sure. Yeah, see, he's already going to have 3 energy available to him. Wow. Okay, and he gets a setup for 5 more. Pretty nice. Now, we could potentially limit his bench, but if we do that right now, he would simply discard Hoopa and Shaman, and we really wouldn't accomplish too much. He does end us, so hopefully we will draw a better hand than the one we had previously. You could argue it's better, you could argue it's not too better, but okay, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. Another energy off of Max Elixir, so now he has 5 energy in play. That's sick. That is hideous. Okay, I get a Landorus and I top deck a strong energy, so that's definitely step 1 in making a comeback, if you will. Gonna use an Ultra Ball, get rid of the Hex Maniac, and the N. Colress I think will 100% be my supporter of choice here, and I'm gonna go for Keldeo because I definitely need to retreat and start going on the offensive this turn, because my opponent has way too much momentum right now with all 5 energy in play. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get a Floatstone, but I can potentially Shaman twice here if my other Shaman was available, which it isn't. All 3 Floatstones are available, so I'm gonna try and get that. I'm actually going to discard these 2 supporters as well, which might seem overkill, but I'm gonna go find a Mewtwo, and this is only to maximize my Shaman and potentially hit the Floatstone, but I think it's going to be really hard to get it. I do get it. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, that was really dumb. There is absolutely no reason not to attach the Float Stone to Keldeo. That was very, very silly of me. Completely silly. But at least I get an attack off here. So, who to place the damage to? I will deal 100 damage next turn to either Darkrai, so I will 2-hit KO them anyways, and the only way I can add damage is the strength, the Fighting Fury belt. So I reckon putting pressure on the Shamans is a better choice here. I think that's a better choice for me. Because if I pull off enough hammerheads, I might be able to snag a weird KO somewhere. Now my opponent will end me once again. I'm completely fine with that. If he decides to start attacking with this Yveltal, I am also perfectly fine. I will keep on putting pressure onto the Shamans. And yeah, okay. So I do get a Versus Seeker, which is nice. My opponent gets another Max Elixir. And actually, okay, 180. So I'm currently dealing, wow, he's 20 short of the KO. 30, 50, 70, yeah, I'd be 30 short or 10 short damage of the KO. So now I regret not putting the 30 on the Darkrai. But I couldn't really count on simply drawing everything I needed, you know? Now, there's two things I can do here. I can potentially attach the Fighting Fury. Well, I think that's actually the obvious play. I'm gonna attach the Fighting Fury belt to Landorus to prevent him from using Lysander and taking a KO with this Darkrai, or potentially with this Yveltal. He would need a Fright Knight Yveltal, and therefore I'm gonna use my energy for the turn onto the Mewtwo, and I'm going to Versus Seeker for a Colress as my supporter of choice. Very nice to have that huge selection of supporter right off the bat. And I've only used one Versus Seeker, correct? Yep, only one, okay. So I don't get too good of a hand, I don't think. Playing the stadium makes absolutely no sense at the moment. If I had attached, I guess that's a misplay on my part, but it's fine. I mean, I'm gonna lose Landorus, and I'm okay with that. Now, the extra damage, okay, let me see. If I place 3 damage counters here, or the 30 damage there, then I will need to deal 170 damage, which means 6 energy total. No, 5, yeah, 6 energy total. So actually placing the damage onto that Darkrai is the better play, because that means, because it has 3 energy and I can attach a DCE to my Mega Mewtwo, I can actually one-hit KO back to back both Darkrai's. Now he gets to see that my whole hand, he gets to see my DCE and my stadiums, but he opts to retreat. He will take the KO with this Night Spear Darkrai, and I don't really mind because I will 100% KO the Darkrai. I will 100% KO the Darkrai, which means getting rid of 60 extra damage from Darkrai, and he really shouldn't be able to one-hit KO me back unless he plays like 3 dark patches. Fortunate that I cannot end him right now, but let me just make sure. I deal 10 plus 30, right? So I'm dealing 100, 160 minus 20. Oh crap, I don't one-hit KO. 106, I'm 10 short. Oh wow, so I might actually have to go for a Mega Turbo play, but then I don't have basic energy available to me. Yikes. Okay, I guess Regirock is great for stalling. I guess Well, what I can... No, because if I play the Stadium and limit his bench, he will discard Hoopa and the no energy Shaman. But I guess I could benefit from him having a low amount of benched Pokemon. So I'm gonna allow him to discard those two. I'm fine with that. But I generally don't want to discard. Man, if he had not played the Getses, I could have used Tool Scrapper on my own Spirit Link, attached the Fighting Fury Belt, and gotten the KO. That would have been amazing. So I'm gonna attach the Fighting Fury Belt there, and I'm gonna Juniper. If I manage to hit an Ultra Ball and a Mega Turbo and an Energy, which I do not, or at least a Float Stone, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Everything is at risk of getting KO'd. So I might as well sacrifice the Regirock, which only gives him one prize card. And I have to pass here. I mean, yeah, I get a ton of energy, but meh. If he opts to... Well, regular Mewtwo X can be a good revenge killer here. Revenge KO'er. And he finds a Lysander, damn it. If he attaches another energy, then he can KO my Mewtwo. He only needs to attach one energy, but he doesn't. Okay. I'll take that. Do I have AC? I don't. I mean, yeah, I KO here. But I don't think I want to KO with this Mewtwo. I want to KO with this Mewtwo. But then I won't be able to KO this Darkrai either. And actually, yeah, that makes no sense because he's actually going to be able to... Should I end here? I think I do end. My best play is definitely to end here. Yeah, I'm going to end. Because I don't know what he's expecting. Maybe he wants to Lysander up and KO the Mega Mewtwo on the bench. There's a Tool Scrapper, which is not useful anymore to me. And yeah, I'm just gonna take my KO here. I'll be down to by quite a few prices. And I also got rid of my own DCEs. But I do get Computer Search, so I can potentially find myself another DCE immediately. Now, he can definitely get a KO with the Veltal. But what I could do, he megaphones away all my tool cards. Attaches a Fighting Fury Belt to the Darkrai. Okay, he's going to take a KO with this Yveltal. Oh, gets his. Oh man, the two Getses have completely done me in. Completely, absolutely, brutally done me in. Oh, those Getses, man. Those Getses have been absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. And yeah, that turn I didn't attack with Mega Mewtwo was a huge mistake. It was a huge mistake because I could have put myself in a situation where I could Lysander up and things like that. I topped the Tool Scrapper. Now the question is, should I? No, I cannot win anymore. I absolutely cannot win anymore. Not in our current situation. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energy in play. That's 160 damage. Yeah, Mewtwo takes a KO and then what? Or rather takes a hit and then I retreat. For the Landorus, makes no difference. Landorus takes a hit and then what? Ugh. I mean, If he hadn't used the Getsis, I could have used Lysander, attacked the Darkrai, potentially attacked the other Shaman. Nope, the Getsis did us in twice. The Getsis made it so that I wasn't able to attach the Fighting Fury belt for that extra 10 damage in order to get a KO, and he even gets the energy. So that's the game. So frustrating. But what can you do? Let's find ourselves another game. Hopefully it's as good as that one. I mean, I felt like I was short on getting back into the game, like one or two cards every turn, or my opponent whiffing, but neither of those happened. Those Jirachi's leaves are really nice, actually. Those are very nice, and looks like Landorus really wants to be the star of the deck. Doesn't want to let Mewtwo. Okay, Headringer, that's a problem. Team Rocket's Handiwork, that's a problem. Sorry about that, guys. Headringer is a problem. We do have computer search, and we will go first. So what I'm actually going to do is I could computer search for Hoopa and find Keldeo, find Mewtwo, and find Shaman. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Going to computer search here and get rid of the Stadium and Mewtwo. No, the N and the Mewtwo. Yeah, gonna get rid of the Mewtwo. I mean, I really doubt I will have to go through 3 Mewtwo's in a game. And the other 2 are not priced, so that's great news. Now, hopefully, yeah, Hoopa isn't priced either. Great. So I'm gonna grab Hoopa, and with Hoopa, I'm going to grab Mewtwo, Shaman, Keldeo, attach the Flowstone to Keldeo, not to Mewtwo, Pablo. Okay, focus. Focus. Or rather, not to Hoopa, like last turn, like last game. I mean, it didn't make a difference at all, but it could have. So definitely pay attention to little details like that. I will play the Stadium, limit my own damage, and I will Shaman here. So let's see what we get. We might want to end. I actually get the Fighting Fury belt, which is great. And do I want to end? I mean, I do have a TCG, I do have an energy, do have a Juniper, but no, I will end. I mean, doesn't really change my opponent's setup at all. He has 6 cards and they are random as far as we know, so we actually get a pretty decent hand off of the end. We get the Sprint Link, which is probably the most important card here to get, and yeah, now we pass the turn. And I would say a pretty solid turn 1 of the game. Now, because this is Fighting Fury belt and not Muzzle Band, I will whiff on the KO on Sableye next turn, and he could start doing things like Crushing Hammer, Team Flare Grunt, things like that. I have a feeling my opponent is using one of those resource depleting decks. So we'll see. We'll see. This Battle Compressor should give us a lot of information on what kind of deck my opponent is using. It really should give us a lot of information. Okay, he gets rid of Enhanced Hammer and 2 Puzzle of Time, so this is definitely a recycling deck. Now I really regret getting rid of the basic dark or the basic fighting energy. He's playing another compressor. There's a Crushing Hammer. Oh, and he got heads. Okay. Headringers. Yep. Oh boy. We are definitely in for a treat of a game. But because Sableye doesn't resist, and he does have Team Flare Grunt even. Wow. Okay. I'm not liking how this matchup will play out. Because yeah, I can retreat, Mega Evolve, attach a DCE, and KO Sableye. But he's going to get a Darkness Energy and go for 2 Puzzle of Time. And it basically comes down to I don't have enough resources to go through 6 Pokemon from him. Unless he somehow whiffs things. He's going to discard my Super Odd, which is huge, to return energy, the basic energy. So the perfect trick shovel for my opponent, but he actually doesn't. He isn't able to pull off the Junk Hunt. So I top deck the Getsis, probably one of the best cards to draw in this situation. I will leave him. Oh, he has a Team Flare Grunt. That's not good. It's not good. He has Lysander, Floatstone, and Verse Seeker. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. The Team Flare Grunt means he can get rid of my DCE. Oh boy. But I don't think I can pass up on a KO right now, because that's only 1 Team Flare Grunt. And he has no way to draw any cards. And his Lysander is also useless thanks to my Floatstone. So I will take my KO here. I will happily take my KO. In theory, unless he top decks like a god, if you will, he should only be able to remove my DCE and then pass once again. If I manage to KO all 4 Sableyes, then that would be huge as well. That's fine, that's assumed, and yeah, there it is, another DCE. Now, I even have a Verse Seeker for another potential Getsis. And I'm just gonna Psychic Infinity and grab another prize. So it really comes down to, my opponent probably doesn't use too many energy, and that's why he whiffed. If he whiffs once again, I might even Getsis. Oh no. Did he top deck back-to-back Puzzle of Time? No, he's rearranging his top decks. Okay, I'm okay with that. I could end right now. I could definitely end. He's going to Lysander, makes no difference to me. Okay, I get a Fighting Energy. I'm going to attach it to Mewtwo because I do have the Mega Turbo. Now, he did rearrange his top deck, but he only has 1 card in hand. We don't know what it is. He has no more Puzzle of Time, but this is also his 3rd Sableye. This is his, and there's the victory. Perfect. I guess he forgot about the Keldeo Floatstone. But wow, I genuinely, I mean, we can take a look at our opponent's deck. Let's take a look. He used Garbodor, he used Bunnelby, and he only had 6 Darkness Energy. Now, his Pokemon were Jirachi, Trubbish, Garbodor, and yeah, as you can see, nothing offensive, it's just Sableye Garbodor. And he had 4 Crushing Hammer, 4 Compressor, 1 Enhanced Hammer, 4 Puzzle of Time, 2 Trick Shovel, and an Ace Trainer, Team Rocket's Handiwork, Getsis, Erosic, 3 Team Flare Grunt, Delinquent, Live Dew, and Headringer. So honestly, this was going to be a really, really tough matchup. It came down to my opponent simply whiffing on that turn 1. If he had been able to recycle the Puzzle of Time, then it would have been one heck of a game for us. But since we are still under the 50 minutes that I said every video would be between 50 minutes and 1 hour, let's play our final game of this Spring Regional Special. Now, if you guys have any feedback on if you enjoyed the videos, if you would have done something differently, if there was any deck you would have liked me to feature that I didn't get to feature, if you have any ideas for expanded decks featuring Phase Collide's cards, definitely let me know. I'm always looking for suggestions, always looking for feedback, always looking for criticism. I got commented the other day that I've stopped or reduced the amount of whining about my bad luck, so I'm happy you guys have noticed, and I'm glad that my conscious work on not complaining as much or anymore is being noticed. I know the stuttering of the videos is an issue, but that's because my current hardware is pretty bad. I am waiting for for new Apple MacBook computers to be announced so that I can recycle, or rather buy a new computer. If you guys want to help me out, there's always been a donation button on my YouTube channel. If you guys want to donate anything, allow me to buy the computer faster so that the stuttering ends, then that would be really nice. And yeah, okay, let's see. That Halucha is really scaring me. It's generally scaring me. But what do I discard? I guess I discard the Lysander and the Mewtwo. Right? Or not right? Or the fight? No. Yeah, the Mewtwo. Gonna go for the Mewtwo. Because regular Mewtwo is still really useful. And no Mega Mewtwo is priced. Perfect. Gonna grab Hoopa here. With Hoopa, I'm going to grab a Mewtwo, a Landorus, and Keldeo. A Mewtwo, a Landorus, and Keldeo. Unfortunately, our other Shaman is priced, so even if I wanted to grab it, I couldn't. But we will play down our hand to one card, and I will be able to get Shaman out of the active spot, which is obviously great. I might promote Hoopa. Gonna attach the DC to Mewtwo. I'm gonna attach the Fighting Fury Belt to Landorus, and I'm gonna Juniper for 7. So pretty nice way to start off the game. I will use Russian. I mean, I could leave Keldeo up there, but I think Hoopa is the least likely candidate to be useful later on. And not to mention that if Hoopa gets damaged, if I play my Stadium to limit my own bench in order to get rid of potential prices for my opponent, I'd rather get rid of Hoopa than Floatstone Keldeo, because it's obviously really useful. So it made no sense to leave anything else active besides Hoopa. Landorus is an attacker, and you don't want it to be KO'd, or rather damaged. Hoopa will never attack. Mewtwo, same deal, an attacker. Shaman, pretty low HP, and Halucha bypasses resistance. There's the strong energy. And Keldeo is also quite useful to cycle through. Now my opponent is using a Maxis Garchomp deck, which is something I've never seen before. Definitely a lot more viable and expanded thanks to Jirachi. And yeah, look, there's a strong energy and there's a muscle band. So my opponent is only missing the Fighting Stadium, which he just got, and he could have KO'd immediately my Shaman EX. He still can, because he hasn't played a supporter just yet. So if he gets the Lysander, he can get a turn 1 KO on my Shaman. He can definitely do that, but there's a Juniper, okay. So, like I mentioned, Hoopa will be damaged, but it's not the end of the world. Definitely not the end of the world, and I don't know, I'm a bit uncomfortable with my microphone. Today, I don't know, the cleaning lady came today and the dimensions seem to be off for today's video. There's a Landorus for my opponent as well. But I think Mega Mewtwo can deal pretty nicely with my opponent's Pokemon. I mean, I have a KO on Halucha right now. I even have a Hex-Maniac to prevent him from drawing any cards through Shaman or finding Jirachi. He does have Archeops actually, so I guess we're pretty lucky that my opponent wasn't able to Maxis into Archeops. I mean, Mega Mewtwo is nice. Mewtwo EX could have definitely handled this pretty much on its own, but it's always nice to have Mega Mewtwo instead. I will spread out my energy a little bit, and yeah, I want to KO, right? I'm gonna play the Hex-Maniac, just because, I mean, it's more insurance. I could have used Hex-Maniac in order to allow me to... Oh! I am so bad. I needed to use Keldeo first before the X-Maniac. I just gave away 2 prize cards for absolutely nothing. I am so sorry, guys. I'm thinking so ahead that I just make so many misplays. That is so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. Please pretend like I just didn't do that stupid play. Oh boy. Oh boy. I guess I like playing TCGO in hard mode. I mean, TCGO already makes it really hard with the hands it deals me. But hey, why not just give 4 prizes to my opponent for free? I mean, no harm in doing that, right? Going to Super Rod back the Mewtwo line and the Hoopa because I stupidly let it get KO'd. And unfortunately, I'm gonna get rid of the other Spirit Link, but now I need to compensate for my stupidity. I have to be more aggressive. Haluchas are definitely going to be very annoying. Now, DCE. Currently, I deal 70 damage plus the single energy on Landorus, that would be 100. Thinking towards the next turn, I need both. I would need an extra energy in order to one-hit KO the Landorus if my opponent doesn't attach energy, which he has absolutely no reason to do so. So, gonna go for a Psychic Infinity. I could also finish it off with my Landorus EX, so maybe I shouldn't be in too big of a rush to do that. But if I can find a single energy, or if I'm brave enough and attach a third DCE to my Mega Mewtwo, then I will be able to one-hit KO the Landorus. And 30 damage from Landorus is not too intimidating. He actually opts to discard a strong energy, which I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised about that decision. Has Lysander, has N, but yeah, we gave 2 prizes for free. We literally told our opponent, hey man, I really like you and therefore I want you to have a 2 prize advantage. So feel free to KO my Pokemon. I will make sure you KO it. Yeah, 100 damage, that's a lot. That's definitely way too much. And he's going to be able to Maxis. He's going to Maxis for either a guard jump, which I think is the better choice. Yup. Okay, the saving grace here is the fact that he cannot simply bite off easily. He will deal 120 damage. We still have 100 HP left, and because that's his 3rd strong energy, he should be hard pressed to KO us. But at this point, I'm gonna attach the TC to Mewtwo. I do have the energy. I can potentially, I mean, I could heal off my Mewtwo, but I might hold off on doing that for next turn. I mean, if for some reason my opponent whiffs the KO, I'm just gonna straight up make sure I don't let him grab those 2 prizes unless he promotes Landorus. So I'm just gonna attack here, take my 2nd KO. Yeah, it's gonna hurt to discard Mega Mewtwo. It's definitely gonna hurt. He promotes Guard Jump immediately, makes sense, it has free retreat. Unless he has energy switch, or he can find, well, actually, yeah, should have played my stadium. We saw he had another stadium in his hand. He's actually down to 2 cards. That's really surprising. Yeah, Turbo Assault doesn't KO me. Because of the fact that he's down to 2 cards, I'm not going to A, play N, or B, allow him to get this Mega Mewtwo KO. Definitely not gonna do that. So I mean, I can KO Garchomp, and then he comes back and KOs me with Landorus, and then all he would need is an energy to grab his last two prizes. So because of that, I will attach an energy to this Mewtwo, promote Keldeo, and I don't want to get this. The Colress is my only choice. Or Juniper. But first I'm going to... Okay, I'm gonna play down Regirock. And I'm actually going to play Parallel City. Make it so that I'm limited in my bench. And discard both Shaman and the damaged Mega Mewtwo, because those are the easiest targets for my opponent. Regirock only gives him one prize, Landorus has the Fighting Fury Belt, and Mewtwo can potentially Mega Evolve or find a Fighting Fury Belt. And seeing my current hand, I'm actually just gonna Juniper. I'm just gonna Juniper. Okay, I get a Spirit Link immediately and the Mewtwo. But no, I actually KO. I can actually KO the Garchomp. I deal 10 plus 3, that's 100, and 130 exactly. Wow, okay, I'll take that. I will definitely take that. Very lucky Juniper for sure. Very lucky Juniper. And basically, yeah, it comes down to I don't want to let my opponent win. Giving out those 2 free prizes was very, very silly. And if he cannot KO my Mega Mewtwo right now, which he shouldn't be able to. I mean, he's dealing 190 damage right now. If I didn't discard the stadium, he would have been able to KO me. He does discard all of his energy though, which makes it so that I cannot one-hit KO him. But I will deal how much? 100 damage right now. 100 damage. How many energy does he currently have? 1, 6 basic and all 4 strong. So how many energy could he potentially be playing? And no matter what, Mewtwo is going to be KO'd if it's on the bench or not. So gonna attach the strong energy, and I'm simply going to Psychic Infinity once again. If he can KO the Mewtwo, good for him. He won't be able to KO another Pokemon EX in time before I get my 3 prize cards, or he decks himself out. He's down to 0 cards in his deck. If he doesn't play, he does play an N, okay. But he only gets to buy himself 1 turn, which doesn't make a difference. And I will be able to KO Landorus and potentially target an Unknown for 30 damage. He goes after Landorus. And yeah, I have this one because the 2 strong energy means I deal 70 damage plus the Fighting Fury Belt, that's 80 damage. And yeah, I will be able to Hammerhead KO and place 3 damage counters on a Landorus, and I had the computer search, I had 3 energy, so no matter what I would have been able to KO. So despite my stupidity and the fact that I made that huge mistake in using the Hex Maniac before using Keldeo's ability, we managed to win that match. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support throughout this week. I will be honest and say it wasn't the most successful week in terms of views or subscribers, but I still enjoyed myself doing that, and I think it's important for me not only to produce content but to enjoy what I'm doing, and playing Expanded was definitely a breath of fresh air for me and for the channel, I would say. Next week we are back to the routine, standard formats, Monday, Wednesday, Friday English, Tuesday, Thursday Spanish, all the same deck. I didn't put up a poll because I will be featuring Mega Alakazam. And yeah, that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, like always, and I will see you guys hopefully on Monday. Thank you guys, and